Cool. We're live. Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Parrino, NewYorkUpstate.com and Syracuse.com. And this is the morning after live chat. The Bills played their first preseason game last night. Didn't get the win, but a lot to sink our teeth into today is, quarterbacks. Big story once again. Played really well. All three guys were able to lead a touchdown drive. Ton to talk about today. I want to hear from all you guys. I want to talk about the game, anything that you want to talk about, and just my reaction. I posted my observations to the game last night, talking about specifically the quarterbacks. I mean, in 10 observations, 3 of them were dedicated, one each, to these 3 guys. I mean, starting off with Nathan Peterman. We spoke about him on the last live chat, and he continues to play really well. He's a guy that, coaches have liked since last season, since his rookie season. Had that tough game against the Chargers, 5 interceptions, but he comes out 9 for 9. His first 9 throws, he made completions, and looked great, looked sensational. Made the coaching staff look good on that one. I thought, he came out and he executed the offense. He looked confident. He wasn't wasting any time. He dropped back, got rid of the ball consistently, and you saw the results. I mean, he led a touchdown drive on his first series of the game. He played 2 series. Kelvin Benjamin was very active, and something that stood out to me about Benjamin after the game was he told reporters that the team is trying to play fast. I mean, you could see the evidence of Brian Daboll fingerprints all over this team, and the way that they moved the ball, the way they got the running backs involved in the passing game. Talk about him in a second, but Marcus Murphy, a guy that utility guy, a guy that can do kind of everything out there. Nathan Peterman really utilized him as well. AJ McCarron as well, but I thought Peterman took the lead in this quarterback race. I mean, all 3 guys played really well yesterday, but with the first team offense, I mean, it's been a while. I think I saw somebody on Twitter say that it's been a while since a Bills offense has looked that good consistently, and it was impressive to watch. AJ McCarron came in after that and was equally as impressive. I mean, at the start, I think it was a little worrisome. He took a sack. That's something that he struggled with in training camp, getting the ball out of his hands, pretty much like the opposite of how Peterman looked, right? I mean, Peterman was playing quickly, was finding his receivers, wasn't messing around back in the pocket. And first play, McCarron takes a sack, but he bounced back. I mean, he got some good protection from that second team offensive line, made a couple big plays, one of which went to Brandon Riley. And I think that Brandon Riley is a guy that received an opportunity yesterday in the fact that Zay Jones wasn't playing. Corey Coleman, just traded for on Sunday, wasn't available in the game. So I think that some of these backup wide receivers lower on the depth chart had an opportunity to show out a little bit, and Brandon Riley made a big play, 59-yard connection with AJ McCarron, and I think left a very good taste in the mouth of the coaching staff, the fans. But in the running back position, LaShawn McCoy did not play. It was Chris Ivory that got the start. There was one play that he caught the ball out of the backfield from Nate Peterman on the first or second drive, and he took it 29 yards. Looked, in midseason form. I mean, this is a guy that's known for his bruising power, running style, but he told me a few weeks ago that, he can do it all. He's going to come in here, he's going to play his role, he's going to try to help his team win, but he's a guy that feels like he could be a featured back on any team in this league, and he showed, his skill set. He caught the ball out of the backfield, something that LaShawn McCoy does really well, and I would imagine Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, wants all of his running backs to do very well, and he took it to 29 yards, made a nice move in the open field, broke a tackle. Exactly what you want to see out of him. But I thought Marcus Murphy, another guy that left a really, really great impression in his first game. He had a good preseason last year, and I think that this is a guy that's going to be fighting tooth and nail to try to make this team. You think about it, will the Bills take 4 running backs into the regular season? It's probably unlikely, right? Depending on what the situation is with LaShawn McCoy, which we haven't heard anything about, his off the field, incident where he had some alleged involvement in a while now, since the beginning of training camp. So you figure McCoy's going to make the team, Ivory's going to make the team, Travers Cadet, a veteran of this NFL veteran, guy that's played multiple seasons. He figures to make the team as well. So then you're looking at Tywan Jones and Marcus Murphy, both guys who do contribute on special teams. But it was Marcus Murphy that I thought looked really, really good. Michael Gerace, thanks for the show viewing from Pittsburgh. Awesome, representing Bills Mafia. Well, thank you for watching. I think that my big takeaway from the game yesterday was just how different the offense looks, right? Like, the quickness, the speed at which the offense is operating with, as a unit. The offensive line looked good. I talked to John Miller after the game, right guard for the Bills right now on the first team. And he said that, that's exactly how they've been practicing. They've been practicing to be consistent, to be quick, to make sure that they're executing. And he was impressed with the way that all three quarterbacks played. He made it a point. I asked him about Nathan Peterman's big day, but he made it a point to say that AJ played well and that rookie Josh Allen came in and made a couple big plays. We'll get to him in a few minutes. But there's a lot to like about this offense. I think that if you're a Bills fan and you watch this game, the main takeaway is how consistently well the Bills were able to move the ball. Obviously, there was the interception there, miss throw, bobble off of Chris Ivory that you're going to have mistakes. I mean, these guys are still young. I mean, all three of these quarterbacks, no experience, right? I mean, Nate Peterman played a couple games last season. AJ McCarron played a couple games. He did have a playoff game, but for the most part, these guys are doing this for the first time, and I think there's a lot of positives to take away. Owen is in here. He wants to know, who do you think will be the starting quarterback? It's a good question. I think we have a lot more data to kind of make that prediction at this point. I think that my gut feeling is that AJ McCarron does enough with his 4 years of NFL experience and the fact that he has played the most and could do some things in preseason to give the coaching staff enough confidence. I think it's a two-man race, and I think that he just brings a little bit more pedigree to the position. But I think it is a two-man race. I think the team is going to, and Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, are going to take this very slow with Josh Allen, and rightfully so. I mean, you saw him come out last night, and he played well, right? He had a few big plays, led a touchdown drive, all the things that you want to see out of your rookie quarterback. But there was a few plays where it's kind of head scratchers, trying to scramble out of the pocket, try to buy more time, and that's what he does, right? He's got that mobility. He's able to, avoid some pressure coming up the middle, get the ball to the outside, but then it's about what kind of decisions you make once you put yourself in that position. And nothing leaped off the page from his performance in terms of taking crazy chances or anything like that. But there was a play when he was forced out to his left, and he ended up throwing the ball away, kind of like flipping it backwards over his head, that I think got shared quite a bit on social media. But I think that Josh Allen has time. There's this schedule coming out of the gate is very, very difficult. I mean, you're going to play the Ravens first, the Chargers. I mean, those are two super tough games right out of the gate that, it might be helpful to have a guy like AJ McCarron, who has gone through some regular seasons, has studied for 4 seasons behind a starting caliber quarterback like Andy Dalton in Cincinnati. And so I think that will be something that McDermott and Beane look at, and it might just give Allen a little bit more time to prepare himself, to maybe see some of the regular season, action from the sidelines. And it's something that that Allen talked about yesterday. He's like, everything that he's doing here is for the first time. He's learning a lot. He's having so much fun. He said yesterday that this has just reaffirmed how much he loves the game, and I think that's definitely something you want to see. But got another one here. Donnie asks, new kickoff rules. Very frustrating to watch that last drive and final minute, knowing there was almost no chance of a last chance. Yeah, it's funny. New kickoff rules, and also the new targeting rules. I think I saw on Twitter that there was 46 potential plays or something along that line, and only two calls in the game, or 2 plays that could have been targeting rules. Those are 2 things that are going to change the game quite a bit. It definitely behooves teams to put themselves in a position to win, not get too far behind because of the fact that it might not be, they might not be able to make a big play on a kickoff return like in years past. But I think, from a preseason perspective, you see like a guy like Josh Allen come in there against the 3rd team, playing with 3rd team talent. He made some plays. That's what you want. You can't take too much away from this, right? I mean, it's preseason. You never know. No matter, AJ McCarron comes in and makes some plays, but he's playing against a 2nd team defense. So, maybe not guys that, a pass rush of, with a Pro Bowl defensive end in his face all game. But the takeaways from the offensive end, another guy, wide receiver, Ray McCloud, the 3rd, I thought had a nice game. And this is a guy that is interesting as you progress through the preseason, because he has some potential as a kick returner. So when you're looking at, these guys fighting for that last wide receiver spot, you figure Zay Jones, Corey Coleman, Benjamin, and Curley are probably locks. You're looking at 1 or 2 more guys that are going to try to make this team there. And, Brandon Riley, veterans, Andre Holmes, Rod Streeter, those 2 guys. So there's a lot of guys in the mix. Ray McCloud is a guy that, made some plays. He's had some drops through camp, but the stronger that he plays going forward, the tougher the decision is for coaches when that comes around. On the defensive side of the ball, I think pretty much business as usual. The big standout for me was Harrison Phillips. Recorded his first NFL sack, albeit in the preseason. He looked outstanding. I mean, this is a guy that came in. Kyle Williams got the night off. He has been showing out in training camp, individual drills, 11 on 11. He's really been one of the standouts of training camp so far, and he continued that into the first preseason game. He just gets unbelievable burst. He's very well rounded. I think that Sean McDermott, was taking it slow at the beginning when talking about, where he can fit in and his impact. But Kyle Williams was out, and, Kyle Williams isn't getting any younger. This is a guy that, I think is 34, 35 years old. So Harrison Phillips, even if he doesn't start, because you got those 2, proven veterans in Williams and Star Lotulelei in the middle of the defense, he is going to get a lot of playing time, and a guy that, the defensive tackle position known more as a run-stopping commodity. But, Phillips has shown that he's got some burst and could contribute in this pass rush. Shaq Lawson had made a nice play. We've talked a lot about him in this training camp so far. He made a nice play with the 1st team with Trent Murphy out, still battling that groin injury. He made a nice play. Cam Newton tried to throw a ball out to short to the right, and he batted the ball down. So that was nice to see. Jerry Hughes with some pressure on his first series with the 1st team defense. Only other real standout to me defensively is, Vontae Davis is a guy that we've talked about a few times now. Really, really tough play. He got himself out of position, and I think he was, Jerry's right, was on the left side. Got himself out of position on about a 10-15 yard route, and he missed the play. I mean, he Wright made the catch, and Davis went to try to make the tackle, and he got completely shook off. Ended up being a 30-yard pass play, setting up a 2-yard touchdown for Christian McCaffrey and for the Panthers. And this is a guy the Bills are going to be relying on. Not a lot of fanfare about EJ Gaines, cornerback that left in the offseason via free agency. A guy that by most accounts had a really strong season last year on the other side of Tre'Davious White. And Vontae Davis, former Pro Bowler, coming off a big injury. The expectations are high there. I mean, they also brought in Philip Gaines, who's looked good in training camp as well. But Vontae Davis is a guy that you could plug in at number 2, a healthy Vontae Davis, and try to have some success there. And the more plays that kind of pile up like that, the more you kind of question, where he's at, and is he's coming back from that injury, and is he going to be the same guy? That's something that Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator, talked about right at the start of camp, is that the team is still evaluating him to see how far he's coming along. But overall, I thought nothing stood out. I was trying to watch for Tremaine Edmonds. Played a few series, and the speed's always there. You always notice it with him, but no big plays. And but that'll come as more reps, more snaps. It was all about the quarterbacks yesterday, and I think that no matter which guy you want to win this job, all those fans were pleased with this first game, and it's only going to get more difficult as the training camp goes along, and then once the starter is named, I mean, like we said, that those first couple games are going to be tough. So we'll get a chance. I mean, whoever wins this job doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the long-term, season-long starter for this team. There's a lot of options. I think no matter what, you asked my prediction about who's going to be the starter. I think no matter who gets the job out of camp, out of preseason, you're going to see Josh Allen before the end of the year. I think that he's too talented and too many skills to leave him. To wait until next season. I think you're going to want to see him get into some game action this season, test him a little bit, get him some experience so that you can hit the ground running in 2019. That's it. Game 1 in the books. A lot of coverage over at NewYorkUpstate.com, Syracuse.com. Go check out all of that from last night. Practice today, 4:45 down at the training facility outside New Era Field. So we'll have some more coverage this weekend, and then training camp gets going again on Sunday. The last stretch, a couple practices starting Sunday through early next week, and then off to Cleveland next week for game number 2. Thank you for joining me. We'll do another Facebook Live session sometime next week during training camp, and I hope to talk to you guys then. Thank you.